this not updating? Doing a little well, that's not doing it, but that's fine. Anyway, let's minimize that window. Just waiting for other people to come in and oh, what's this? Okay. Good evening, Yarnies. If anybody's here. No, I don't think anybody's here yet. That not okay. Well, move that out of the way. Light on. This ready. It is Tuesday. Yeah, it is Tuesday. Okay. Make certain I got the right day to stream. We're gonna flip over to what we need to do. Hey, welcome. Think you're the first one in here. I'm just kind of starting and getting this going. Hey, Grammy. I'm joining my new color for the next day, which is purple. We got 2 purples and a blue. How was everyone's evening? I know how Grammy's evening is. Eh. Surprised my moderator and her other half aren't here yet. It might be coming along shortly. Let me check something to see if that is showing up the right way. Yeah, showing up. Oh, I could trim my blue yarn. I don't need that right now. I did frog that foot of royal blue from the other night. There she is. Welcome. So, got a little funny story to tell you. Have you ever had a really good night's sleep or a really good nap, and when you wake up, you're not fully awake and you look at the clock and you see what time it is, but you don't know if it's AM or PM fully? Well, I slept good last night, and at like 5:45 in the morning, I wake up and I look at the clock and I'm thinking it's 6 p.m. And I'm like, okay, well, I got to prep everything because in 2 hours I got to stream. I came over here and fully woke up and fired up the computer and was getting everything, all the behind the scenes thing. And then I looked and it said AM. And I'm like, oh, I'm 12 hours early. I almost started streaming this at 8 this morning. True. But it was dark out, and it's at 6 o'clock. It's still dark out right now in the evening and in the morning. So I didn't realize that it was morning. I thought it was in the evening. No, I woke up at 6 a.m. Like, I woke up early. I thought it was pretty funny. How's everyone's projects coming? Yay! Weaving in tails. I don't mind weaving in tails. Hey, old Stitcher. Oh, I set up something. I'm learning Twitch and all the little behind the scenes thing. So if I happen to get a new follower, for those of you who are my yeah, you need to get on that packing. For those of you who that are my longtime followers, if I happen to get a new follower, everyone will be notified in the chat. You won't get a notification on your own. Like, you won't get like a thing that'll pop up on your phone. It'll be here in the chat. It will make a noise, so don't be startled. It's not a loud noise. So we'll just have to see if that happens. Yeah, how far along are you until the end of the month? You know what you could do? This is just a suggestion, and it's not a sizing gauge swatch. Do a small swatch of the colors you're using, maybe like a 4-inch little. I said, how far along are you in January before you start doing February? I mean, today is the last day in the month. Like I said, what you could do is you could do a small little sample piece with a bunch of the colors that you're using, all the colors you're using, and then do a row of black, and then do a couple more, the same colors, to see what it would look like. Instead of doing the whole project, just do a little sample a few inches wide. Because if you end up putting a row of black in and then keep doing it into February, and then you're like, oh, I don't like that, and then you're stuck with it. But if you got a little sample, you're not putting that into your project. And you can always frog it back out and use that yarn. Yep. Instead of frogging out your whole project. I don't think I'm doing a contrasting row between the months. I'm just going to let the whole thing just go from one day to the next. You said your packing's not going so well. Well, you still have some time. But yeah, tonight we're going to do these 3 rows to finish off last week. And then I'm going... Yeah, I've seen chainless foundations. I've never done one before. I'm not familiar with the feather stitch, but might be something to look into that I could possibly do on here. I don't know if that's in my book. If not, I can find other resources. But like I said, gonna do these next 3 rows. And then afterwards, I will do a tutorial on how to do circles. That sounds like a lot, Clay Miko. You said you're leaving, what, Saturday? Yeah, remember you're taking the train. Yeah, Cinderella, you get one guess. Bingo! That's where they're going. So that means next week I won't have a moderator. I might have to promote somebody. Not next week. Yeah, there's no 30 something year olds. Well, okay, one's a 30 something year old because I think he's younger. Isn't he younger? Yeah. She, well, technically she's still 30 something. I'm not I'm not trying to embarrass her, but yep. It's Clay Miko. She's always challenging. Oh, okay. Not having any more. Okay. Got a row done. The next row is purple, so I don't got to change anything. I just got to flip. I've moved my lamp to a different position, so hopefully it's going to help with the glare and the shadow. Probably not the glare. Mainly when I do up close stitches, which we'll do after, like I said, after these few rows. That is if you want me to show how to do the circles. I showed Cinderella the other day. I mixed up that stitch from the previous row. Oops. I'm going to pretend it didn't happen. So I'm not frogging out half a row. So, what was it, early this morning? I caught the, on YouTube, the user, her channel is called the Secret Yarnery. She's the one where I got this pattern from. She didn't come up with this pattern. This is the moss stitch, or they call it the linen stitch. She was the one that was doing it. She's actually doing the same thing for this year, temperature blanket in the same stitch, and I happened to catch her live, and I did mention to her that I'm streaming it, and I credited her, and that I've got you guys doing a cal with me, C-A-L, a cal, crochet along. Oh, um, I think what you missed was after I'm doing these rows, I'm going to show how to do crochet in circles, not granny squares, but an actual circle. If you wanted to watch along or crochet along with me. And I still have to make samples for Thursday night, because normally I would have had them made already, but I haven't gotten around to doing my swatches for that. But I've got time. So no sneak peeks for Thursday. I mean, I know what stitches I'm doing. For Thursday, I'm doing It's a stitch called the raised ripple stitch. It's also known as the alpine stitch, and that's in regular crochet. And then the Tunisian stitch that I'm going to be doing is a stitch called the mesh stitch. Again, I still have to make swatches for that. I saw on Twitch the other day, there's this guy, I don't know where he is. I don't know if he's in England or South Africa. He's definitely got an accent. He's crocheting a corner, and he's kind of making up the pattern on his own. A corner to corner sweater. It was interesting. I mean, he's still in the process of he's doing the collar now. The other day when I saw him, he was doing this, figuring out how to do the sleeves to taper them, and I don't think I'm up to that level. Gotta move this over. It's too much sitting on top of my desk. Getting near the end of this row. A couple more feet. I'm assuming everybody's busy stitching away. Ah, okay. No more beer and chicken nugget run. Oh, cool. Yeah, I've done that before. I've gotten a bunch of yarn, and it's really cool and pretty looking. I have no idea what I'm going to do with it. But it's always good to have it in your stash. And then at some point, if you decide, oh, I need something that color would work, you got it on hand. It's not like it goes bad. Yeah, you've been hitting up the yarn sales a lot lately. No, I just said, not necessarily spice it up. I just said that I guess everybody's busy stitching along, which is fine. I know it's very difficult to type and crochet at the same time. I mean, I guess I've got the luxury that I can talk and crochet at the same time. Y'all don't have that ability. I mean, you can talk and crochet at the same time, but I won't be able to hear you. What dumb thing did you do? I gotta change color. I'm on my last row of the night. Then we will go to circles. What happens in Minnesota State? Well, actually, you can get a cell phone mount. I don't know how you're going to actually put it up higher, but they do make cell phone mounts. You have to mount it to something. Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. I remember you told me that. Okay, now I gotta flip everything. Nor Fairy, Grammy is not talking about me. Yep. But yeah, Grammy asked, how much of that Mexicana yarn do you have that you want to unload? I think she might be interested in it. Okay, hold on a second. Let's see here. Oh, you did that? I actually like that. Oh, wait, 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 wait. No, no, I can't. Somebody's trying to call me. And you said that that is what you cut up and tied together? Second, I gotta respond. Oh, I gotta do that off camera. Hold on. Give me a second. Okay. Sorry. Let's. Okay. Let's go back to the sorry. Technical difficulties. Yeah, I like that. I like that a lot. You know what it reminds me of? And Grammy and Cinderella are going to know what I'm talking about. You remember those rag scatter rugs that Nana had? Kind of like that. I mean, obviously, this is more colorful, but yeah, the rag rugs. I like that. Very cool. Okay. Yeah, it does kind of look very, kind of like Lego. Like if you're just building with random bricks and not worrying about a specific color. Yeah, Super Breakout for Atari 2600. Which I got one of those. I think I do have Super Breakout. Now, what I should have done is I should have turned off my ringer notification on Facebook Messenger because a friend of mine tried a video chat. He never texts me, he just calls, and I hadn't talked to him in a while. Um, he's actually the one. Remember that Batman blanket I've shown? He's the one I made that one for. Cinderella knows him. My friend Phil. Yeah, Grammy. Yeah, make a Space Invaders blanket, Grammy. She's found a blanket that somebody did, and if you look at it a certain way, it looks like the game Space Invaders. Again, that Mexicana yarn isn't that bad, depending on what stitch you use and how you use it. That's that's the problem with some of the variegated yarns, and as busy as it is, That has a lot of colors in it. They could be kind of difficult to work with. My last row of the night. Dang. Pinball machine. Yeah. Now I have that sound in my head, the sound of it bouncing around, and then when it resets. And not the pinball machines they have now where everything's all computerized, and not the ones that's all computerized and LEDs and all that stuff. No, the old school. Yeah, it's just my marbles. It's how they would do it when they were waiting for the dryer to get done so you can switch over the stuff from the washer instead of going up and down the steps all day. And even better, when it was rigged, so you didn't have to put any money in it. Getting near the end. Well, the end of this row. Nowhere near the end of the blanket. Because I'm on row 28. This was January 28th. Because remember, I'm doing mine week after. Okay. You're not missing much. I'm just zipping along. already see that this is going to be pretty unwieldy come the summer. So is Nora Fairy still battling the demons and the angels and the whatever it was he said the other day? Dark colors, I can barely see. Oh, very homey. Oh, cozy and where you want to snuggle up with a warm blanket and a cup of hot cocoa. Hey, last couple stitches of the night on this blanket. Tonight went quick with this. Okay. Oh, and I didn't record that. So you know what? We're going to leave that last stitch undone because I don't know if it's the same color or not. Okay. I am going to go take a quick bathroom break. So far, that's almost a month's worth. We need more green. Pray for green. Okay, I'll be right back. I've returned. Okay. Let's change gears. I just came back from the restroom. All right. So we're going to do circles. I don't have a sample of a circle, but we all know what a circle is. It's a circle. I'm not crocheting while I'm in the restroom. That's not a good thing. Play me go around. Oh God, no, 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 no. Okay. And I don't know if Cinderella's around, but I think I taught her the other day. But if you would like a refresher or you want to learn how to do a circle, I will go slow if you're stitching along with me. This is going to be round, and you're going to have a closed center. So that means we're doing the magic circle. And I know you might be rusty on a magic circle, but again, I can go slow. So a magic circle, you're going to hold your tail in your hand like this and wrap it around your two fingers and cross them. So you're going to wrap it behind, bring it around, cross them. Put your thumb where that cross is and turn your fingers, turn your hand like that. I use my ring finger to hold it in place. So we got our front strand and our back strand. Again, have our tail hanging in our palm of our hand, wrap it around our two fingers, cross them, hold where they cross, rotate, hold that tail with your ring finger. Get our front strand and our back strand. So once you got that, put your hook under the front strand and over the back strand. Pull it under and then flip it around. You kind of, when you do that, when you do this, it's going to go like this, and it's going to twist a bit. Let me get it in camera. Again, I'm still trying to figure out, manage the logistics with getting it in frame. So under the front, over the top, and when you bring it in like this, you're going to twist it, bring the hook part upwards, and up like that. So once you have that, you're going to carefully keep that loop on there. You kind of like pinch it with your hook hand, and gently, you're pinching it with there. You're gently going to remove your fingers, and you're going to have this twisted loop. So then, carefully, in your left hand, hold all of that together, and then just do a chain to secure it so it doesn't come unraveled. And you want to keep the tail in the loop. See how they're twisted? You're going to keep it like that. You need me to do that over again? Hand cramped. Okay? Just do one chain for right now. Just do one chain. And that's basically to secure that loop on there so it's not all loose and floppy. Just do one chain. And it doesn't matter how this looks, but just keep, you've got her tail, and then it goes around and it round again. So on one side of the big loop, you'll have two strands, and on the other side you'll have one. and where they kind of meet, you got two strands here and one on the other side. Their chain will be right there where they meet. So you're going to lay your loops here, your twisted loop, in your hand, and you're going to put your yarn in your hand however you tension it. And then you're going to do 6 single crochets into this big loop. Just like you're doing a granny square, you're going to do 6 into the large loop. So you're going to go in, yarn over, and bring up. So that's 2 on the hook, yarn over, and bring through. And that's a single crochet. You're just going to do 6 of them. It's going to look weird because there's no structure yet because you're just starting. You're going to do 6 of those. 2. And these are singles. 3, 4, 5. And every time you do it, you're going around both of those strands. See how they're twisted? You're going to go around both. You're going to treat it as one strand. So that's 5. And then 6. And it's going to look totally strange. You're going to have all of this here and then this weird bit at the bottom. Essentially what we're doing is these stitches here are forming what is holding in a drawstring. That's really what we're doing. Now wait for anybody to catch up if they're struggling. Yeah, because you're using a larger hook and a larger yarn. Yarn. It was thicker. And that yarn had some body to it, so it wouldn't just wouldn't flop everywhere. It kind of had some structure to it. But again, this is practice. Let me know if everybody's to this point, or if I have to rip it out and clarify something. You're good? Okay. So now we're going to forget about this loop right now. You're going to leave it there. And then we're going to slip stitch where you've got 6 single crochets. Your hook is at the one end. You're going to slip stitch into the top of the very first crochet that you made. So let all of that loop hang down below. And you're going to hold that very first single crochet that you made. And you're going to slip stitch into the top of that single. Again, right now we finished here. This is the first one. I'm going to slip stitch into the very first one we made. And slip stitches go in, yarn over, bring through, and then bring that same loop through the one on your hook. And it can get a little fiddly because it's smaller. And then we're going to stop. I might have 7. I had 7. Hold on. I had to start over. If you got 7, that's fine too. Two, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. Slip stitch into the first one. So we got our little circle here. And if you've slip stitched to form a circle into the very first stitch, make a big loop and take your hook out. Make certain you have a big loop so you don't lose it. So once you get to that point and you've got a large loop, flip it on the back side, and with your one hand, hold the ring you made, and with your other hand, find your tail and pull it. And pull it tight. I mean, not too tight that breaks the yarn, but when you do that, you're cinching up that drawstring, and now you have no hole in the center. You're going to let that tail just hang there. That'll be done at the very end. You'll weave that in later. Count. So we've slip stitched to make a ring, pulled our loop out so we don't lose it, take the hook out, and then pull our tail on the back to tighten it up. And if it looks a mess, that's fine. With time, it'll actually look better with more practice. This over. Okay. So now, wherever that tail is coming out, that's the bottom. Okay. And we're just... Yeah, it might that might happen. Again, with time, it'll get tighter and you'll neaten it up. It's fine if that happens. We're just making a circle. We're not really making anything. If you were going to actually make something, then let's say you're making something three-dimensional, like a stuffed animal. This is how you would start. This would be the outside. That would be the inside, I think. Because I think it matters. I think there's a right and a wrong side. But we're not worried about that tonight. We're just making a circle. So, if you look here, and I did 6. If you happen to do more than 6, it's fine. I did 6 singles. So, if we're going to count, we got 1, and these little, see these double loops? That is the top of a single crochet. Just like if you're doing rows. If you're doing rows, you see the top of it. There's going to be 2 strands. So there's 1, 2 where I'm holding it, 3, 4, 5, and 6 right next to where that loop is. So our first row have 6. If you happen to have 7, that's fine. If you happen to have 8, that's fine. Whatever you have. Because I got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whatever that number is fine. The next, that's our first row, around. What loop? What do you mean loop? The loop is on the edge. This is one side, and that's the other side. The loop is on the edge, on like going around. Okay, it is going to be a little more on. I know what you mean. It's going to be a little more on the top. Yeah. So you see here. That's fine. Yeah, it kind of sticks up a little more. It doesn't really matter right now. We're not worried about front and backs right now. We're just trying to get the concept of how to go in a circle. So whatever number of stitches you have, if you did 6 single crochets, you got 6 stitches. If you happen to do 7, 8, whatever, you want to do at least like 5 or 6. Anything smaller, that's going to be too tiny. I usually do about 6. And 6 is a good number to start with because it's a sizable, the way it forms. So all this is, no, the tail is to the bottom. The working yarn is to the left. Your tail's on the underside of your piece. Your tail's going to hang below. The tail's underneath. I can't show you. The camera's not under here, so I can't show you. But the tail is right here, hanging down towards the table or the ground. So this is our first round. In the next single crochet, which I gotta look at this real quick. In the next single crochet, we slip stitched here. In the next one, we're going to do 2 stitches. So we're doing singles. The whole thing is singles. You can get more involved with other types of stitches. We're only going to do singles. So this stitch here is our next single crochet. The tail's on the side and your loop is on the bottom. Okay, rip it out and we'll start over. I want to make certain we're all on the same page. And again, Clay Mika, are you good so far? If not, yeah, rip it all out. We'll start over. Okay. So, okay. So you're going to hold the tail in your hand, wrap it around your 2 fingers, cross them. Put your thumb where they cross, rotate, and then I use, no, don't be sorry. That's the whole purpose of the stream, of me streaming, is to teach. So we've crossed them, we've rotated. Now we got our 2 strands, under the first strand, over the back, bring it up and over. And then you've got this. Okay, so you got to where we chain. So we chain 1. So we've chained 1. That's just to secure it so it's not as floppy. And now we're going to do 6 singles into this loop. So I'm going to hold with my left hand. I'm holding where these strands twist. I'm going to go into this large loop and bring up a loop and do a single. We're going to do 6 of those. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. It's always good to go back and double check. We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you're just using that big loop is what the space you're going to go into when you chain. Not chain, when you single crochet. Okay. Now you're going to forget about the rest of the loop right now. You're going to let it hang because it's all secured. You're going to, with your non-hook hand, you're going to hold on to where that first chain, that first single is, and you're going to slip stitch into the top of that single crochet. You know, top of a single crochet, and you got those 2 bars. You're going to go into both of those bars. Take your working yarn. Again, your loop, just let it, your floppy loop's going to let it hang. Your working yarn, you're going to slip stitch. So you've gone into your single. You're going to yarn over, bring it through, and then continue that, bring that same, okay. Now, we're going to pull, if you've slip stitched, pull your loop really big and take your hook out. Don't worry about your hook right now. Now you've got a ring. What is facing you is the working side. This is what you're going to look at the entire time. So now flip it over. You've got a loop here. There's an extra loop, and you've got a tail. This big loop here is what we took the hook out of. This loop is actually part of the loop we made when we were making our magic circle. So don't hold on to the stitches of your single crochet, and if you happen to have a loop like there on that side, that's fine. Again, we flipped it over. So this is where our tail was. So now we're going to hold our single crochets, hold it pretty tight, and with our other hand, we're going to pull. And as we pull, that little loop there will tighten up. And then we've got our closed circle. And your tail should be the only thing coming off of one side, kind of near the center, not the exact center, but near the center. It's off to the center a little bit. So that's our tail. We're going to worry about our tail later. Okay, then flip it back over. We got our big loop that we made when we took the hook out. Put it back in. And now, I always double check and count. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. We've got our 6 singles. That's our first round. Our first stitch we're going to worry about is the next one here. So we're here on the loop is on the hook here. We're going to go to the next stitch, which is right here. And I'm hoping this is showing up with this brown yarn. It's going to go right here. So we're going to go into that stitch, bring up a loop, and do a single. What I should mention right now is if you have stitch markers, use them. If you don't, use a strand of yarn. If you don't want to do that, count. Write it down, count. Counting is important. I'm going to count. So I have 6 on my first round. Our next round, when we finish it, we're going to have 12. We're doubling it. So that means that each single crochet from our first round, we're going to put 2 in there. So we just did 1. In that exact same stitch, go in and do another single. If you had stitch markers, you would put your stitch marker in right here, right before your first one of the second round. We're on round 2 now. Again, round 1 had 6 stitches. Round 2, each stitch from the previous row, you're going to put 2 singles in it. You're doubling it. So I'm going to count. So that was 2 for that round. In our next stitch, if I'm going too fast, let me know. Our next stitch, we're going to put 2. So I'm at 4. The next one, put 2. I'm at 6. Same thing, the next one. I've got 8. The next one, I have 10. And then the next one, I have 12. So all I did was put 2 singles in each of the stitches from the previous row. If you have stitch markers, your stitch marker would have been right here, right where that first stitch was that you did. If you don't, you've counted. The bigger you get, you're going to count more and more and more. And it might be good to write it down if you don't have stitch markers. Okay? So after you have that, we need to, just like a granny square, when we're done the round, we need to slip stitch it together to join it. So in the very next stitch, we're going to slip stitch to join. And if you want, after you slip stitch, you can go back and count your stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Whoop. My yarn moved. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 10, 11, 12. Okay? So that is round 2. You're just putting 2 into each of the previous row. And again, your tail is going to be on the back side, and your loop is going to be on the edge, just like when you do granny squares or rows. Your loop isn't really on the top or the bottom, it's on the edge of the work. Because your stitches go out that way, the stitches aren't going up in most crochet. There are crochet stitches where they go up, but we're not doing that anything fancy tonight. Okay, that's fine. That's just something you have to practice doing the magic circle. So that's fine. Okay, so round 3, you would think, okay, let's double each one. But if you double each one, first we had 6, then we have 12. But if we double each one, we're going to have 24. That would be fine, but you're going to be putting more stitches in there, and eventually it's not going to be flat, it's going to cup up like a bowl. So we have to gradually get bigger. So each time you increase, you're going to add the number of stitches that you had in the first round. So we had 6. The second round here, we added 6 plus 6. So we have 12. Our next round we do, what's 12 and 6? 18. So to do that, in our next stitch, and this is where it comes in handy to write it down because there's a pattern. The next stitch we'll do 2, Okay? So the next stitch we did, and again, when we get to the end of this row, we'll have 18. If you start with 6. If you start with a different number, you're going to have a totally different number. So we started with 6. In the first stitch, the first ones of round 3, we have 2 in the first stitch and 1 in the next. So we have 3. The next stitch, we're going to have 2 in that stitch, and in the following stitch, have 1. So now we have 6. So the pattern is, first stitch gets 2, the next stitch gets 1. The next stitch gets 2, the following stitch gets 1. The next gets 2, following 1. So what we're going to end up doing is we're actually adding only 6 more than what we had in the previous row. Does that make sense? Because we're easing up gradually by 6s. So the first row's got 6, the next row's got 12, the next one's going to have 8. This one we're working on has 18. But we can't just put them all in at one time. We have to distribute them evenly around. So that's, and again, this is where stitch markers will come in handy. You will put a stitch marker at the beginning of your row. So I've got 6. So the next one gets 2 stitches. And then the following one only gets 1. So now we're at 9. Again, we're going to 18. So we're halfway down that round. And if you're stitching slower than I am, it's fine. It's not a race. The next one gets 2. And the following gets 1. I'm at 12. The pattern for this row is 2 and 1. You do 2 together. Well, not 2 together. 2 in one spot, 1 in the next. 2 in one spot, 1 in the next. You keep doing that until you get 18. So I lost count. I'm at 12. So then the next one gets 2. 15. And then the next one gets 1. So I'm at 15. So the next one gets 2. And the last one gets 1. And it can be a little tight sometimes. Just, if you have that problem, try to ease up your tension or get a bigger hook. So when you get near the end, you know you have 18, because again, each round we're going, we're adding an additional of our base first round. First round, we had 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 18. And then, after you've gotten your round done, again, you slip stitch into your first one that you made. Let me double check. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. 18. Yep. Again, the pattern for the third row is 2 in one, 1 in the next. 2 in one, 1 in the next. Okay? We don't have to chain or do any of that stuff. I mean, technically, I guess you could. We're not doing any of that. We're keeping it simple. So now our fourth row, we've got 18. We got to add 6 to it. So 18 plus 6 is 24. And again, if you're not ready to go to the fourth round, I can wait. Again, each round we're gradually getting it bigger. We have 20, we have 18 here. If we did, actually, we have 18. If we did 18 more, we did 18 in these, we're definitely going to be going up because there's not enough room for all of them to lay flat. If we did another 18, we'd end up building upwards, and then that's how you would do a three-dimensional thing, like a stuffed animal or anything that would have dimension to it. That we're just doing something flat here. So row 4, we need to have 24. So to do that, the first stitch, our first single crochet, will get 2. The next one will get 1, and the following will get 1. So we'll have 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1, and so on. Doing that, we'll end up adding our 6 more to our 18 throughout. Again, we're easing those 6 into it all the way around by doing those 2 in the first. We're adding that extra stitch in there. So the first one will get 2. The next one will get 1. And the following one will get 1. So now we have 4. This round we're going to 24. And again, stitch marker would help a lot. So we've got 4. So then the next one we do, we'll get 2. And then 1 and 1. So now we're at 8. The next one will get 2. And then the following will get 1. And the following will get 1. So each time you do 2, 2, 1, 1, 2, 1, 1. So I'm at 12 now. And again, take your time. You do them in sets. 2 and 1. And then the following 2, each will get 1. You do that until you get to 24. Or back to your stitch marker if you are using them. If you're not using them, it's always good. Even if you are using a stitch marker, it's good to count. And again, when you get to that point, after you make certain you have 24, you just slip stitch into your very first stitch. And that's how you do it for the rest of the rows. So we have 24, and I'm not going to stitch along right now. I'm just going to explain. We have 24, so the next time we're going to add 6. So 24 and 6 is 30. So to do that, you need to ease it in. And I'll wait until get to that point so not to confuse you. Okay? So the next round, we're going to need 30 because we have 24 here. We're adding 6. So the next stitch, we'll get 2. And the next 3 stitches will each get 1. Four, 5. So that grouping, there's 2 and 1, and the next 3 have 3. So that's 5. And we do that 5 more times because 6 times 5 is 30. So we've already done 1. So it's 2, 1, 1, 1. Each time you do that, it's 2, and then you add the number of ones that you do by itself. You add 1. It increases, it grows. So this round you do, the first one you do 2, the next 3 you each do 1 of them. And your fabric will kind of curl because you're holding it and you're moving things, but eventually you'll be able to flatten it out. So let me get a piece of paper, and I'm going to try to have the best handwriting. Row 1 is what you go into your foundation chain. We do 6. Row 2, we're going to need 12. So to do that, you'll put 2 in, can't write. My handwriting's horrible. I shouldn't be doing this on stream. So each time you do it, you're adding an extra 1 into it. So row 3, we're going to need 18. So we'll do 2 in the first. And I know I'm confusing you because I'm going too far ahead. And 1 in the next. I'm just writing this for my own notes. Yeah. It's not legible to anybody else. Does that make any sense? Each time you go around, the first one you go into, you're going to put 2. And then we did The next 3 we did 1. So the next round we would go, we'd do 2 and 1, and then the next 4 we each do 1. And then that way it'll get bigger and bigger and bigger. When we add the 2 in, anytime we add 2 into 1 stitch, we're increasing, because we're putting 2 where 1 stitch is. That's how you do circles. You can do it as big as you want. You can get more elaborate with different types of stitches in the circle. There's lots of counting involved. There's different designs and all of that. We'll get into all of that in the future of how to do more decorative, cool looking circles. Let me see if I've got it here. I got it here. Okay. Give you an example of something that's a circle, and I can't show you the whole thing because there's not enough room. But this, and the whole, I didn't do a magic circle in this one. But I think I did start out with 6 or 8 or whatever when I did this. And you can see it's just circle after circle, it's concentric circles. Eventually it's all green in the center, but then I do have some colors using a lot of cotton yarn. And you just keep going, the same thing. And I don't know how many rounds this is, but I did 2 on 1 stitch, and then however many, I did 1 in each, I counted, I knew what I needed, and then I did 2, and then so on. It's just on a bigger, larger scale. Yeah, that's fine. Again, it's just like doing grannies. It's going to take some time. And this involves a lot of counting, and it could be more of a hexagon shape, or a heptagon, or whatever it is. Again, it's just going to take practice. Mine's a little hexagon-y, but it's easing in those extra stitches. Looking good. Let me, I gotta move the thing over. Where's it? Why can't I move the... Give me... I'm having a technical issue. Oh, here it is. It's over in the weird part of my screen. Oh, I gotta bring it to the front, too. Looking good. It looks kind of like a hexagon, yes. But over time, you'll get better at it, and it'll look more circular. Oh, yes, me. Shouldn't be yawning on stream. Just takes practice, 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 practice. Can I ask somebody to do me a favor? It's gonna sound weird. And if a bunch of you do it, that's fine. Below my stream, I think there's like a little heart icon, and you guys have already clicked it. That's when you follow me. Can one of you test it out? Click it again, you'll unfollow, but then click it one more time.
Thanks for the follow.
Thank you, Norfairy. That's exactly what I wanted. Okay. I just want to make sure it was working. So now, anytime that anyone follows me, everybody will know. Thank you. Okay. No, your circle is fine. It's not set up like that? Huh. Usually there's a heart below where you can click to follow someone. He just wanted to see his name and likes. Okay. No, you're doing good. It's practice. Keep at it, and I can see that like some of your stitches were kind of loose and then your tension got tighter. You're fine. Just keep at it and it'll become more circular. And you know what? I think you might have had 7. If you have a 7-sided, it looks 7-sided, you might have had 7 singles in there, which that's okay too. If you did start with 7, it's just you're gonna build it up by multiples of 7. So the next row you'd have 14, and the following row you'd have 21. You just build it up by multiples of your whatever your base is. Okay. Yeah. Maybe because it's mobile or whatever. But I just want to make certain it was working. So yeah, for now on, if anybody follows, everybody will know. It's a little Twitch, little gadget, little widget thingy that I figured out. So instead of just me seeing it, everybody knows. Okay. I think that's it for tonight. I don't have anything else prepared or ready yet. I can't even show you samples for Thursday because I haven't made them yet. Yeah, I know. If you want to see if you want to see a preview, you can always look up online somewhere the raised ripple stitch. It's also known as the alpine stitch. That is going to be our another free flow. That's going to be our regular crochet, and then our Tunisian is the Tunisian mesh stitch. Free flow. Great, free flow. Okay, fine. You've talked me into it. I don't know what I'm going to make. I'm using blue. I know what I need to do. I need to practice corner to corner because that's coming up on Saturday. I'm not going to do tonight adding the colors, but I'll just do regular corner to corner. Okay, I figured. I got it. Three. 1, 2, 3. Yeah, you'll have to show me. What brand is it? That's not a brand, that's a color. Purple's a brand of mattresses. Oh, I'm going to show you real quick to do corner to corner. Okay, we did this the other day. So I'm going to do mine 3 rows by however long. Send a picture. Okay, let's see. Um, uh, me no see no picture. Okay, to show how to do rectangular. So corner to corner, again from the other day, we've got 3 wide. And now I'm going to have it however long. I just want it to be a narrow piece. So we'd stop here, we'd flip, and we'd slip stitch our way, just like we're decreasing. Okay, I'll check in a second. And then I'm just going to keep going this way. So I'm not going to increase anymore. So that is how you would do a rectangular piece. And I'll show you. You just slip stitch to where you need to be. And I know nobody's really following along with me, because that was the lesson from the other day. I just want to get to the end of this little row. So I've got it 3 wide this way, but I want to keep going in this direction. So I increase here. That's when you would do the 6. Remember, in corner to corner, anytime you increase, you chain 6. To make that square. And this is not a lesson on corner to corner. I don't want a half double. I want a double. And again, we're still going to do 3 wide. Then we'd slip stitch our way back to that spot. Let me check this picture. Oh, never heard that brand. Yarwo? Y-A-R-W-O? Cool. They got enough pockets and everything for all of your yarn and hooks and that good stuff. Yep. I like mine because it's all in one spot. I mean, all my yarn will fit in there, obviously, because it's a project bag. But it keeps all of my pattern books and my hooks and yep. Or 6 grommets for all of the colors in your one whip. Like I've got 7. I've got 6 grommets, but I've got some extra pockets. So all of my colors for my temperature blanket are in there. So I don't have to constantly go over to my stash to find the color. I just keep it all in there. But all of my hooks, even if I'm not using them for that project, are in that. That way I'm not searching through a box or a drawer or anything. Clay Miko, didn't you say that you had a tote or wanted to get a tote bag, or I think you had mentioned that at one time. And anybody new who's watching, I know I'm getting some more. I don't know if there might be new people. Welcome to the stream. Okay. I mean, there's nothing wrong with any other types of bags or things you use. Oh, I've used grocery bags before. I don't know what I'm making. I'm just practicing my corner to corner. So basically, when you do something like this, you're decreasing on one side and you're increasing on the other. That's how you get a rectangular shape. Again, I can always go over that later when we actually do a corner to corner stream. Hey, whatever gets you there. If you need any tools and some stash, well, you're not really a newbie because those squares that you have made, they're gorgeous. Knew what I should have been doing. I should have worked for my scrap ball and just made granny squares. Next time, for filler, I'll do that. I think I used a J hook when I was making those. And I got a couple granny squares in that blanket that have fallen apart. It wasn't the right yarn. Some crappy yarn. Hey, don't don't bully her on her wonkiness. Two, three, three. Wait, is that an actual pattern, or are you being funny? Are you being like, oh, let's crochet granny squares while you're drunk? Oh, hmm. I've never even heard of that. See, I'm learning something new too. Excuse me. just gonna finish this off. I don't even know what this is. That's just a corner to corner thing. Oh wow. Oh, the Secret Yarnery. Yeah, I like her channel. Okay. Well, that's what a granny square it really is. Well, yeah. Granny squares, chains, and doubles. Most granny squares. Yeah, I'll have to look into that. Hmm. Let me find my. Gotta find my other hook. An 8. I need my eye hook. That an eye? That eye. J hook. That it? Purple one? G. Okay. Oh, okay. Let's see if it's in here. L. Oh, where my hook went to? Hey. Okay, good night. I'll chat with you later. I'm going to work with this mess here. This is my scrap ball. What? Why did I double that up? Hold on. That shouldn't be doubled up. Go back and let me take a look. Yeah, it should be. Okay, yeah, definitely. So this is my scrap ball that anytime I have a project that I've got leftovers that's not enough to do anything else, I tie them all together and I make granny squares. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to make regular ordinary grannies. And this one I'm using 2 strands together because it's a oh no, it's gonna be too bulky. This does have to come apart. Got to separate these 2 strands. I don't know why I doubled them. Usually, it's, I mean, you can do whatever you want, but usually it is for a basic granny. Some people might do more or less. I usually do 6. I don't know if there's not really a set rule. Depends on the granny you're doing. do some basic grannies. 2, 3, 6. Flip stitch the chain together. I can show you real quick how to weave your tail in on a traditional granny. When you do your actual stitches into it, just hold your tail along with that ring. When I go to do it, I'm going to chain 2. That counts as our first. And I'm not going to go through the whole steps of doing a granny. But at any time I go into the center there, I'm going to work over not only the ring, but also the tail. And then I don't have to weave in the centers. I think there might be some wool in this. I could be wrong, but it kind of feels like that. But as I work this, I mean, it's going to be a while. I'll get this pink. Progress. All of these grannies are going to be 2 rounds. So I'm only going to go around twice, because these are for that scrappy blanket that I have. And this granny is going to have it's going to be all pink. But there will be ones that it'll pick up the next yarn. And I got all types of yarn in here. It's not just different colors. It's different materials, like there's a fuzzy yarn that's going to be in it. It's whatever comes along. And I got a knot in it. I don't care if there's a knot in them. With this blanket, it doesn't matter if there's knots. That's where I start them. There is a way to start them where you don't start in the corner. I find it easier to start in the corner. But yeah, I slip stitch my way to the corner. You'll find instructions to do it a different way, which there's nothing wrong with that. I just prefer to do it this way. That's fine. Yeah, because I'm going fast. All I'm doing is the basic granny where you do clusters of 3, and then your chains where appropriate. And I'm just doing 2 rounds for each square. So right here, this is the end of my second round. I'm going to slip stitch, cut a bit of a tail, bring it through, and we're done with that square. That one happens to be all pink. That's just a regular, ordinary granny. Now, this next one is where we're going to end up getting some interesting changes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And I can see on the outside of the ball, but I don't remember what's on the inside of this thing, because I started this not quite 20 years ago. So who knows what's in the core of this ball. I'm not going to get to the core tonight, obviously. Oh, I'm going to change colors here. And it's going to look a mess because there's going to be knots. So that's half around. And now we're going to switch. It's going to switch over to this. Yeah, but I'm using a totally different size yarn. Technically, this is not what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to use same size yarn, but I want it scrappy, and this is going to be a bitch to work with, but that's why I chose this hook. It's not a tiny hook, and it's not a large hook. This is a little bit of a thicker yarn, but it's nice and silky. It does smooth. It's not really an eyelash yarn. It's got a little bit of fuzz to it, but it's like an art yarn where it's got a strand that's got some of the fuzz, but then the other strand, it's two strands. It's actually, each strand is like, one's a single ply, the other one's a double ply, but then they're twisted together loosely. So one's got a little bit of glitter in them with the black and whatever, and the other one's got some white and some red. But it's very silky, so it slides on the hook easily. And again, I'm just using this. This is just scrap. And you really won't be able to see the stitch patterns that much because it's so big and bulky. This is kind of a pain to work with sometimes, but it's all good. But the granny squares will work up the yarn just so I can get, oh, and we're going to switch colors after, probably in the same round. So the center of it's got some pink, and then it switches to this reddish fuzzy stuff. And I have no idea what project I used any of this on. Maybe I used some of this on a scarf or a hat at some point. No clue. And that means I'm going to have a lot of tails to weave in because of these knots. And I'm not joining it the way that you're really supposed to. Okay. 2. Oh, move my knot. We got a very thin yarn again. This is a crazy square. 2. This is a total crazy square. We got this white baby type yarn. That is doubled up because it's a very thin yarn. So it's not just colors that are changing, it's textures. That might be ugly, but I'm not going to get rid of it. Perfectly good yarn. Okay, good night. And you're the one who wanted me to go 2 more hours. See how that is. Yeah. You don't have a wall outlet to plug it in? Joking. I'll talk to you later. Oh, you're one of those. I used to be one of those. Oh, sounds like crappy planning if you don't have an outlet near you. So, that's a crazy, ugly looking granny. We got this pink, this reddish stuff, and then this white. And they're roughly the same size. Goodness gracious, 15! Hear that electric meter just spinning around. Okay, good night. Yeah, I'll probably end the stream here. Let me just join this. Yeah, let me switch this over. And thanks everybody for joining me. Check out the YouTube channel, all that good stuff. And I'll see you on Thursday for our Stitch Dictionary for those 2 stitches I mentioned. Y'all have a good evening and happy crafting.